Okay, today I'm going to show how to set up networking for multiplayer gaming with both IPX and TCP/IP between emulated DOS Windows PCs using DOSBox and 86BOX on Windows 10, 11 host PCs. So this will basically let you set up a LAN game party setup on older DOS and Windows games running an emulated system on newer hardware. So you can basically have two newer PCs, but yet have them joined for older DOS games or Windows 95 games that have networking, and be able to link them together through a couple different methods through IPX networking and TCP/IP. Now, this video is not going to be about how to install Windows 95 or on either DOSBox or Xbox or 86BOX. There's plenty of videos on YouTube about that, so that will be a separate thing, but I'll kind of show some of how the networking gets set up, even within Windows and that kind of thing, so that you can figure that out. So, and set up the network card drivers and the necessary TCP/IP and IPX protocols. But you'll have to have Windows 95 basically installed and have a Windows 95 source, like your ISO CD-ROM or your Windows 95 floppy disk images, because it will, as soon as you try and add networking in, it will want to have disks to go and get the files for the protocols and network card and that kind of thing. So just be aware of that you have those ready to be able to attach to your virtual machine in some way and be able to load them up. But anyway, the first thing you will need is a separate piece of software to install on your host PC, which is called NPCAP. And there's an installer for it on this page here, npcap.com. And if you scroll down, you can see the installer for Windows up to Windows 11 here. So just download that and install it, and then probably your PC will have to reboot, and then you have to do that before you can configure anything, because basically it needs the applications that emulate the PCs, including 86BOX, need to be able to see that before they will actually even give you that as an option in the network setup. So download that and install it. And I'm doing this on wired Ethernet connections. I'm not sure if it works on the wireless or not, but anyway, both PCs that I have that I was testing with were on the wired network, so, and it worked on that and went to my local area network that I have in my house. So on another thing you have to do on your host PC is get the name of your Ethernet adapter that's basically under the connect using here, or mine is Realtek Gaming GBE, Gigabit Ethernet Family Controller. So you have to get that name exactly, because that will end up being referenced in some of the config files. So take note of that, whatever your active Ethernet interface is, and get the name of that. Before we start, and then I'm going to fire up 86BOX. So I'm using Winbox for 86BOX, which then is a kind of a front end that helps configure the various PCs, and I've got them pre-configured in here, but I'll kind of show you what I had to do to get it working. I'll start with the Windows 95 one in settings. And under network, and here, if you should be able to, once you reboot and have that NPCAP installed, it should come up as an option under mode here. Originally it was only none in SLRP, but if you don't see PCAP, something hasn't gotten installed in the previous steps. But if you do have it installed, then it should show up here. And here's the interface, and this one actually looks it up, so you can basically choose your interface that's on your host PC by name. And then the adapter, you choose Novell NE2000 seems to be the most configurable and standard one to select as the emulated adapter for your emulated PC. And then here you want to take note of the IRQ and address in case it's anything other than these, because that gets set in the config file as well. So then if we fire up the PC here, this is Windows 95, one of the original releases. I don't think it's 95B, probably 95, the first version. So inside here under Network Properties, right-click on Network Neighborhood, go Properties, and make sure you have the Novell Anthem NE2000 compatible network card installed, and IPX and TCP/IP protocols. Clients will probably come in there by default, and once you install those and go OK, then this is where it may ask for the Windows 95 ISO image or disk. So if you have to attach one of those, you can do that down in the bottom left-hand corner through either CD-ROM or floppy image. So you can basically right-click and map to an ISO image, or might right-click and map to a floppy image if you need to change that. So that's where that is. And once that's done, the other thing you have to do is look at the properties of TCP/IP, and you may have to put the gateway in, because sometimes it needs to know where to get out to be able to even get your IP address through DHCP. So I had to add my gateway in here of my local area network, and DNS I also put in the host name and the domain name, and whatever DNS server that your host PC is showing, you might want to add in here as well. And then for IP address, I just had it obtain IP address automatically, so it does it through DHCP. And then if you want to figure out what the IP address is, it's a little bit different than the newer version of Windows. You got to go WinIP CFG and run that. And you can see here that I have the Novell 2000 adapter. IP address and gateway showing up, so it's successfully getting an address through DHCP and going out through the network. And you can also run the command prompts. Windows, you gotta type out the full command. And you can try pinging google.com. You can see that we have the success to google.com, so it's basically DNS, and the IP networking is working because we're getting responses back. IP config, we showed you that already. And pinging out, that worked. And now, actually, if you want to test it with a game, we can try a game on Windows 95. So I'm just going to fire up this, and I'm also going to use F8 and F12 to get out of this one and fire up DOSBox, and just so I have another one to connect to. So I'm using DOSBOX-X. The DOSBox configuration is a little more complicated. So I'll show you that. So again, I have Windows 95 installed on DOSBox-X, so that's there's different ways to do that, and I'll show you how I boot into it when we get back to testing the other part of this session here. But anyway, you have to configure a bunch of things inside the DOSBox-X.c1f file. So the first thing you have to do is make sure IPX equals false, because we're not using the built-in DOSBox IPX functionality. We're doing it through the PCAP driver. So then the next thing you have to do again is say that we're using the NE2000, which is the common network card for this era. So you say NE2000 equals true here, and this is where the IOUT address, or the base address, and the IRQ command 3 and 300 that was got from that other config file we were looking at. The MAC address can be anything, but just make sure it's unique if you're running more than one of these. And backend is PCAP, so this is the important part to hook DOSBox-X into PCAP. You've got to say backend equals PCAP. And then here again is where the real network interface card needs the name, and you actually have to paste the name in here with quotes, and then save this config file. There's also some other settings that I used when I was setting up Windows 95 on it that you'll probably end up setting as well. So I had used, to get good colors for Windows 95 to run some basic games, I used SVAJ_S3, which emulates an S3 video card, Trio 64. And also I upped the memory. I think this was default was 16, and now I've set this to 128. But if you look up how to install Windows 95 on DOSBox, you'll probably do that part during the installation of Windows, just to give Windows more resources that it can work with. So those are two things that you also go in there, and then you save that file out to the directory running DOSBox-X from. Now we have to mount image, yeah, actually it's image mount. Image. So this basically allows you to mount a C drive image, then boot C:, to boot from that image. So here we've got Windows 95 running in 86BOX, and here we've got Windows 95 running in DOSBOX. So basically 2 sessions of Windows 95 on the same OS. You have to capture the mouse with Control F10 on this version of DOSBOX, and then you can press the OK. I've also installed LapLink here as a test app as well. But the first thing we'll try is this eGames. And here there's a network-enabled crib game from MVP software. It came with this collection. So I'm just going to call this DOSBOX PC. And here, multiplayer, you can go connect or listen. So connect, and go TCP/IP. And I have to go back and run it on the other machine. So Control F10 to get out of the mouse lock on that one. And on the Windows 98, this one is F8, F12 if you have to get out the mouse lock on this one, but it automatically captures here. And the same game on here. DOSBOX. Let's go back to the other one. So F8, F12. So there, it knows we want to connect to 86BOX PC from DOSBOX. So if we go OK, you can see both of them now know we're connected. You choose the location for your player. You have to go back to the other one. This is where it gets a bit awkward running it on one PC. I guess we have to go back to this one here, Control F10 and go Game New. 86BOX PC has the first game. Control F10. So now you can see that we're getting the same screen with each of our cards on the. So you can basically play crib now between 2 players. 2 cards to put in your crib. So then you go back to the other one. So we have F8, F12 to get out of that. Control F10. So that's basically how that works. So basically proving that works. So the DOSBox and 86BOX are connected through TCP/IP. Now, if there's another application that I was testing this with, which is lap links, I'm just going to Control F10 to get out of here. Or I'll close this down first, but Control F10. We disconnected on the other one now, so we'll go over to that one. And this one, lap link 11.5, which can use either IPX or TCP/IP. So we'll start that up on here. And we'll go back to the other one again. Control F10. So now if you go connect over a LAN network, it'll basically detect what is available, go out and look at the network, and basically knows we have the Win95 PC over here on 86BOX available through IPX or TCP/IP. So we'll just run IPX to prove that's working. So you can basically see that it says Win95 IPX down here, and then in the other one it says DOSBox IPX. So basically, have the two connected. You can do a text chat between them. So we have connectivity with showing how those two are connected through the app. This can also do file transfers like the older versions of LapLink were known to do. You know, do a window kind of thing where you can copy folders and files and that kind of thing between the two PCs over the network, and even take remote control of the other machine as well with this version of LapLink. So that kind of shows you that that's working. So that's basically how it's done within Windows 95 versions, with having all the protocols within 95 once you've got the DOSBox and 86BOX configured to talk to the PCAP on the host. So basically the Windows 95 client then runs or Windows 95 operating system runs the protocols you need to connect, as long as you've got an NE2000 network card set up in each one of them. Let's go back to the other one. I don't know if I showed it on here, but get an F8 and F12 to get up there. Control F10 again to focus here. There's, we got up that. But this one, again, it's Windows 95, and you'll be able to see here, it's basically set up the same way. Once the underlying configuration is done to the DOSBox-X.cnf file, you basically make sure this has an 82000 compatible card and all the protocols you need to run things here. So that's how that works. So you see, yeah, it's wanting the disk here because I didn't cancel anyone out. But it has them all in there now. So I think that's probably all you need to know to be able to get Windows versions connected. I'll probably do another video showing how to do it with DOS instead of Windows 95 and probably use Doom to as the test application for that method. But that basically is how the Windows networking does it. The underlying setup is all the same for both 86BOX and DOSBox as far as the config files go, but you're using the DOS versions, you have to basically load your protocols at the DOS level through the for IPX. There's different .com files you need to run, and the IPX compatible packet driver that Novell supplies too, that has the config file in that for the right IQ on an 82000. So, but anyway, this probably end this video here for now. It's showing you how the Windows worked, and then I'll make another video showing how the DOS version worked, just so that they're not in one super long video. So that's it for this video. Hopefully you learned something.